going on, guys? I'm Biofuze, and on GameSpot I'm known as Raptor.
And I'm Chickan. Today we'll be reviewing the first two Uncharted games in anticipation for Uncharted 3 Drake's Deception, which is released during the first week of November.
Don't worry about spoilers, we won't be discussing any crucial plot points or stages. You can also click the titles down below to be taken to that part of the video, because we realise this is quite a long video and not everyone will want to sit through it all. So let's start us off with the first game.
Uncharted Drake's Fortune is an action-adventure game with platform and third-person shooter elements. Developed by Naughty Dog and published by the Sony Computer Entertainment for the PlayStation 3, it was released in late 2007. What were your thoughts on the game, Bio?
I thought the game was great for its time, with smooth pacing, great set pieces, an unforgettable story, absolute terrific voice acting, and characters that really felt like real people with real personalities and problems. It was very polished and was very promising.
I first bought this game simply because it was the title that PC owners were supposed to own to show off their systems. Ever sceptical, I was really surprised when it managed to not only meet my expectations but exceed them as well at every level.
The gameplay is fast and slow, each at the right times, and the story kept me interested the whole way through. It's nothing short of epic, and the climax and endings are brilliant.
One of the things I loved about this game was that from the very first scene you feel like you're taking part in an interactive movie. The story is told by in-game dialogue and integrated cinematics rather than the segregated cutscenes, which are the norm in other titles. There weren't any loading screens and no clear distinction between chapters was made.
There was enough variety throughout the game to keep me interested the whole way through. Jeep chases, boat rides, good old fisticuffs, gunfights, and puzzles that you had to discover the answer to in Drake's journal that you could pull out at any time.
Found the platforming and puzzle sections enjoyable, however they were definitely designed with ease in mind, and I doubt anyone would have much trouble figuring them out. This suited the game though and actually kept things flowing along nicely. The other part of Uncharted was the combat. Much like many other titles, you have the standard arsenal to play with, grenades, weapons, melee and so on, but what I liked about it was that the enemy AI mixed up their attacks a little. Some would hang back and hide in cover, some would rush in, cover would be destroyed, and about 2/3 of the way through the game, the enemies changed completely and you had to change your tactics accordingly.
Unfortunately, the game is a little on the short side, with no multiplayer or much of an incentive to replay aside from trophy hunting, and it can get frustrating at times in terms of missing jumps or getting overwhelmed in a gunfight. And the gunfights can feel strict and linear at times, but these are minor things that are easily forgiven as it's a great game.
The only negatives I found were that the combat sections had a clear start and finish point. Naughty Dog just neglected to play the Gears of War guitar twang every time they ended. The other issue I had was that there was only one way to deal with enemies. There weren't any areas where you could sneak around some guards or avoid a fight. How do you reckon it holds up today?
This game has the whole package: adventuring, shooting, combat and puzzles. I definitely think it holds up. There's a level of polish in the environment that feels natural and well done, and even though it's 4 years old, I still think it holds up to some of the games released this year. I give it an 8 out of 10. What about you?
I think it does too. The story and characters are interesting, the level design is good and the package is well presented. The graphics are still pretty amazing even by today's standard, but most of all, it was really fun. Not particularly complex, but fun. Initially I gave it an 8 out of 10, but I'm upping it to an 8.5 as it's withstood the test of time really well.
The sequel, Uncharted 2, Among Thieves, was released in October of 2009 and won multiple Game of the Year awards. It introduced multiplayer, which appeared to be quite successful, spawning a new group of hardcore fans. What were your original thoughts?
With Uncharted 2, they actually managed to make a sequel that ticked all the boxes for being bigger and better than the first. That said, I still preferred the first game as I thought it was more realistic. Yeah, I know that there was very little realistic about the Uncharted series, but I still felt like it was a Temple of Doom type sequel where I really wanted a Last Crusade.
I wasn't really hyped for the game before its release, but I was following it. After hearing about its success, I quickly picked it up and was definitely not disappointed. In my opinion, it was insane how much this game did right, and amazing to see how it improved upon the first game. The characters felt a lot more three-dimensional, and the story took twists and turns that kept it upon its feet at all times. So what are your likes or dislikes?
I like the improved combat. Aim from behind cover was improved, and they staggered the enemies considerably better. I also loved the story and character development, especially the Chloe Elena thing. Most of all, I loved that they kept the game mechanics that meant the game flowed really well, whilst they improved the graphics and made a better, bigger story.
When I judge whether a game is a successful sequel or not, I look at whether the game improves on what it had in the original, adds new elements, not necessarily taking a step in a different direction though, and if it had a wow factor, while still feeling similar to the first. On paper, Uncharted 2 sounds like a game that has been done before, but that's not how I'd describe it. The gunfights have been improved and the pacing feels a lot more natural and with a much better flow. The set pieces are incredible and the graphics are breathtaking. Some of the best environments seen in games.
One of the things I didn't like was the epic scale they tried to introduce to Uncharted. For example, in the very first scene where Nate climbs a train with a gut wound that a few seconds earlier meant that he couldn't even move. I know everyone totes that as an awesome moment in gaming, but I just found it was pushing that boundary a little bit too far. Another example was the map room, an over-elaborate temple that would practically be unable to be used at the time that it was created, to display a map that wouldn't have any meaning to them, leading to a place that was out in the open anyway. I mean, come on. The other significant difference from the first game was the addition of multiplayer. Whilst a good idea, it felt to me like a standard versus multiplayer pack tacked onto a great single-player game.
Yeah, well, I mean, I didn't get right into the multiplayer, but I do think it was a nice addition for those hardcore players that wanted to continue playing in the Uncharted universe with a bit more competition. But it doesn't help by making you wonder how much better the game could have been if all the attention was focused on the single player. While a lot of the set pieces I thought were great additions, some did feel unnecessary, and I'm going to have to agree with you on the opening train sequence. It was not new player friendly, and I know a fair few people who didn't get into the game because they were bored in that first level, something you do not want to happen. For me though, I gave it a chance, and the rest of the game felt well paced and well thought out. If I had any complaints, it would be the AI still feels dumb and they soak up a lot of bullets before dying. Once again, these are very small nitpicky complaints in an otherwise superb game. Does it hold up today?
For the exact reasons, same reasons as the first game, I actually think it holds up very well. I still think the first one was a better game as it was a little bit more believable, but then again, I'm one of the few who didn't like the epicness of God of War 3 either, so obviously bigger, better, larger isn't for everyone. That said, it's still an exceptional fun game to play and I gave it an 8.5 out of 10.
Which is totally true, but I enjoyed the semi-new direction it took, and I most definitely enjoyed most aspects of Uncharted 2. The added co-op was a great bonus and the game built up enough tension and character development to make you feel part of the Uncharted universe. I give it a 9 out of 10. Uncharted 3 Drake's Deception is set to release during the first week of November and promises an even better single player experience than both of the first ones. It currently has a 94 Metacritic rating with nearly 50 all positive reviews, with no mixed or negative reviews. While ratings don't mean everything, the lowest that has been given to it is an 8 out of 10, and considering that is the absolute lowest so far, it looks like the critics have really liked this game.
We put together a couple of videos that you might enjoy watching. If you click the video image, the complete footage will be shown in a new window. The first video shows the new buddy system. It looks like an interesting addition to the multiplayer. Spawning on your buddy reminds me a little bit of Bad Company, and I like the way that you can perform co-op moves to humiliate the enemy. Although I'm not entirely sure how doing a high five over a dead body is meant to be humiliating. Hopefully they'll add a new co-op teabag move. Treasure looks like an interesting addition too, however I feel that it's all superfluous and doesn't tear me away from my feeling that Uncharted doesn't need a multiplayer component. The desert demo, released very recently, looks interesting, but I always find it hard to tell from these what the game's actually going to feel like to play. It definitely seems consistent with their interactive movie graphic masterpiece, MO, although I thought the combat sections looked less segregated in this, and look like they should be more fun to play. The final video is an unboxing of the Collector's Edition, which will vary depending on your region. I think the Collector's Edition looks fantastic and I'm very happy it's the version I ordered. A nice wooden case with velvet lined drawers containing a statuette, Drake's ring on a leather necklace, replica belt buckle and a steel case, all the sort of stuff I like being charged extra cash for.
Any final words on the Uncharted games?
I'd just like to say that the first two games are high in my pile of all-time favourites. They're not complex or difficult, but they're exceptionally fun to play and I'm really looking forward to number 3. Can't wait for my copy to arrive from the US. Sorry, Harvey.
Yeah, the games are definitely instant classics and will be remembered for a long time to come. So thanks for coming on the show and doing this review with me.
Thanks for having me.
and Chickan's GameSpot blog and Twitter will be in the description below along with mine. Remember to leave a comment telling us what you think of the Uncharted games, whether or not you still think they hold up. I'm Biofuze and I'll see you all next video.
PlayStation 3, it'll be released.
Come on now.
The PlayStation 3, it will be. Ready?
Wait. Okay. First up. Okay. Wait, let me just. Okay.
Sorry.
Yes, well, when I judge a game, yes, well, when it. Bonus in the game built up tension and character development to make you feel.
Yeah, there it is.
Which is totally true, but I enjoyed the semi-new direction it took, and I most definitely enjoyed most aspects of Uncharted 2. The added co-op was a great bonus, and the game felt. Oh, I hate my life. Yeah, a 9 out of 10. Oh, I did it! I did it! Okay.
Alright.
Yes! And Chickan's GameSpot and Twitter will be in. Wait. And Chickan's GameSpot and. So thanks for coming on the mate. Wait! Okay. We did it! One character development! One!